like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. The 16th annual literary competition was open to artists in the Southeast United States, and the 8th annual youth literary competition was open to students enrolled in K-12 programs in York County, South Carolina. Both competitions accepted entries in 2 categories, both short story and poetry, and will be awarding to both categories tonight. The very first thing I'd like to do is recognize our jurors. Our jurors started reading stories in early September, and they wrapped up in mid-October with their decisions. They were made up of local literary professionals and members of the Perihelion Book Club. They volunteered their time to read all their entries, and we would love to have them stand up and be recognized tonight. So if we have any members of the Perihelion Book Club who read for us, or Melissa MacArthur Gilbert, Mary Martin, or Ephraim Scott Summers here with us tonight, we'd love to say thank you. All right then. So it takes creativity and skill to produce the poetry and short stories that came to us. We are very fortunate to live in a community where talent is abundant. This year's competition featured engaging tales of mystery, intrigue, and the whirling spin of daily life. We would like to extend our thanks to each author who shared their talent with us. Our sponsor tonight is the Perihelion Book Club. They have partnered with us for several years on this, and we are forever grateful for what they've done for the literary arts in York County. They began in 1898, and they're affiliated with the General Federation of Women's Clubs. They're a social club here in Rock Hill. And they're committed, what are they committed to? A lot of things. They're committed to supporting literacy in a variety of ways. They conduct story hours at schools, they purchase books for libraries, and they fund a scholarship at Winthrop. We have to thank them for their continuing support. Are there any members here with us tonight? All right. So, winners, as you come up and accept your award, we would like to invite you to read an excerpt from your piece. The first set of awards are the Poetry Awards in the 8th Annual Youth Literary Competition. Our first honorable mention goes to Malaysia Wilson with her piece, Differences.
Differences. Why hate on our differences when we love the world we live in? Isn't it different? In one place, the sun dances all over the buildings, while in other places, the moon is singing a lullaby. Why hate on race when the heat is trying to bake cookies? Why hate on your size when Africa and Australia seem to be cool how they are? Why hate on change, but we didn't hate when the continents walked away to be alone? So why hate the difference in society, or do you hate the world too?
Our second honorable mention is Violin Girl by Zoe Busby. Now I know she had a flat tire on her way in, so she may come in. She's on her way in. We're trying to make it here. We'll invite her up if she does get here on time. Moving on to third place, I Am by Meg Bratton.
I am from Golden Hayfields, from Old Spices and Tea Tree Oil. I am from a small little town deep in Pines. I am also from White Roses and Kudzu Vines. I am from Christmas at Adams and Long Legs, from Rita, Sandy, and Ann. I am from Hot Dog and Roll Tide, from Let's Say Night Prayers to Love You Bunches. I am from singing old hymns and growing as a Methodist. I am from Hickory Grove, New York, South Carolina, from fried chicken and peach cobbler, from the time Daddy got eat up by a wasp by the old bathtub and cutting hay during the lunar eclipse. I am from Your Never Promised a Tomorrow, so live it today.
Second place is Just Listen by U.J. Daniels. I hope I got that right. No? Okay. First place, The Lord's Gaze by Harlan Remberg. All right. Short story in the 8th Annual Youth Literary Competition. Our first honorable mention is Speaking Up by Lila Heen. Third place is Love in Color by Emma Bennett. Second place, One Match by Lily Sutton. And then first place is Across the Page by Helena Siren, or Helena. All right. Congratulations to all of the winners of our 8th Annual Youth Literary Competition. We did notice we had one family who came in, and we did have 2 poetry pieces where our families weren't here quite yet. The Violin Girl by Zoe Dubusky, or The Lord's Gaze by Harlan Remberg.
stare at so often, my life will soon reshape itself into something different. I have only 4 years before I will be an adult, meaning I'll have to register for a draft and select a candidate on a ballot. These ideas are beyond my comprehension. All I can honestly say that I understand in the world is the shrill sound of insects as I look up into the twilight sky. I know, however, that it invariably must change. As the sun fades behind the tree line into a world I do not know, darkness hastens like the passing of time. From this dusk, fireflies begin to emerge, winking softly. I feel the eyes of the Lord on me and see His manifestation around me in the glow of the insects. Always there, even when time passes and darkness fills summer evenings. The clouds above me have reconstructed themselves, and at the edge of one, a star has appeared. I smile softly to myself as I breathe it all in and listen to the cicadas drumming and mingling with the crickets' chirps. I stand and walk inside.
Our second place youth poetry winner has arrived. UJ Daniels, Just Listen. If you'd like to come up, we'd love to hear your read.
This is for him, the one who lived in a foul community, constant conflict between Bloods and Crips. He knew his family needed security. His resistance to joining the gang slits is becoming a need. He's struggling. His resistance to joining the gang slits. He joins the Bloods and starts hustling. Bang! This is for her. The one who was abused by her alcoholic father. She and her mother tried to find a way out, but they knew if they left, they wouldn't prosper. They cried, knowing that we wouldn't hear them shout. Smack. This is for him. The one who smokes all his problems away. Pot seems like his best friend, his relief, but when the buzz is gone, pain and grief awaits. He can't take it anymore. He grabs another defeat. Click. This is for her. The one who self-harmed due to past mistakes at school. They would make fun of her scars and not knowing that she was going through so much heartache. She committed suicide in the school parking lot in her car. Triple. This is for him. The one who is sucked into poverty and can't make ends meet. He searches for a solution and a job every day, and he goes to school working hard to get his family back on their feet, but the government and society won't give him leeway. He goes another night without any food. He cries out to the sky, knowing that he won't be heard, but viewed. Grumbling. This is for her. The one who battles with anxiety and depression, total sadness, total fear. She feels as if she's in a war zone. The worth of meaning and purpose in her life is in question. She's in a constant battle with her mind that is unknown. Because every time she wakes, she's in panic. Every time she closes her eyes, she doesn't want them to open. She sees people complain. They take their sanity for granted because it's hard to even see the light when you're broken. Drip. Voices, sounds, and thoughts from him, from her, and from them. We ignored it, we didn't see the cost, but the cycle of pain continued to stem. But this is for him, this is for her, and this is for them. Just listen to their cries and pleas for help. They reached out for our hands, but they were just condemned. Just listen and grab onto them, feeling the pain that they felt. We're so quick to judge and dismiss them, but their stories don't define who they are. We're so quick to forget them that we forget one day we weren't that far. It isn't their fault that they're angry and depressed. It isn't their fault that they've been sucked into total darkness. It isn't their fault that they've been made the oppressed. It isn't their fault that they were targeted by this world when they were harmless. I know what I needed and I know what they need. We need to listen to what's around us. We need to help our fellow brothers and sisters be free. We need to build each other up and stop with the buts. Because you may not know what the person next to you is going through. You may not know if today is their last day. You may not know if your words could be a breakthrough, letting them know that you're with them and everything's okay. You may not know. But if you are him, you are her, and you are a part of them, I want you to know that I see you and I need you. You are not alone. I am with you. You aren't on your own. I am here for you. Your voice is being heard because I hear you. You don't have to cry. Wipe the tears from your lonely eyes because I love you. This is where it starts, and this is what we need to declare. And I hope this touches your hearts because him, her, and them are everywhere. Just listen.
Art by Debbie Hammond Lancaster.
This is quite an honor for this particular poem to get recognized because it is in honor of my mother, for whom my husband and I have been managing 24/7 care. And it was inspired by a statement that she said when she was probably 15 years younger. She's 92 now. She said that the one thing that she does not like about getting older is that people ignore you. This is called Traveling Ouvre d'Art. Next time you will notice her as you hasten to the grocery store, or when you drive tree-lined streets with slanted parking spaces where historic buildings still stand, where everything is not yet gone. The resolute traveler, the efficient walk, each step a collection of courage and willpower, arms bent, hands ready to grasp and appreciate whatever stays. A railing, a door, an arm of a loved one. She will pause for a brief moment to admire what she doesn't remember she forgot, or to muster another ounce of effort and a smile for passersby who sidle on with ease. The buckles, the crumble of the sidewalk, a simple path to their nimble feet.
Our next honorable mention is The Coming of the Christmas Creep by Joy Coulter.
Good evening. With deepest respect to Washington Post writer Alexandra Petrie, who wrote the article, Waging a Noble War Against Christmas Creep, and with deepest apologies to Clement Clark Moore, who arguably penned the poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas. Ladies and gentlemen, the name of this poem is The Coming of the Christmas Creep. 'Twas the 10th of November, and all through our town were the typical fall hues of orange and brown. The neighborhood doors carried hay-bundled sheaves or wreaths covered in autumn flowers and leaves. School windows were speckled with posters and pictures of corn, harvest horns, and more Thanksgiving fixtures. The local fall festival would be here soon with rides and games for children that afternoon. The grocery store downtown had hoisted a sign reading, Thanksgiving sale, turkeys, $10.99. The city and citizens in their own way prepared for the coming of Thanksgiving Day. When subtly, though I don't know when or just where it started or how it began, but at some point that day or while we were asleep, he snuck his way in town, the great Christmas creep. He's quite nondescript, neither dashing nor cute, just a schlub in a tinsel-down jingle-belled suit. But to get in eyesight or earshot of that man makes one think it's Christmas for which I must plan. Somehow he released in the town's atmosphere that November means Christmas is pretty much here. And slowly but surely, our focus saw shifts from turkeys and pumpkins to fir trees and gifts. Creeps creeping on each city sidewalk and street made us wish for snow and not leaves under our feet. The neighbors in school scrapped depictions of fall. Once the Christmas creep strolled past them, winter was all. Christmas wreaths were hung with icicle lights, and children drew Santas and sleighs soaring heights. Each storefront on Main Street had put up a tree with the brightest ornaments you ever did see. The local Fall Fest, now a winter bazaar, and that's not the strangest thing I saw by far. Creep crept into TV ads through local stations, pushed end-of-year sales alongside Christmas donations. He touted Black Friday to help stores survive. And so we forget Thanksgiving was supposed to arrive. The creep made the church bells ring old Christmas songs. Without even knowing it, I sang along so filled with the spirit of Christmas. Remember, when creep made this happen, it's not yet December. And right when I thought nothing else could be said, the creep turned the cityscape white, green, and red. The Christmas creep's treatment had sent my head reeling. I shook myself free from all this Christmas feeling. It seemed crazy he could get away with this, spending Thanksgiving as a day no one would miss. I stood up to the creep, shouted, "This can't be real. Hey, I love Christmas too, but dude, what's the deal?" I reached to grab him and yelled, "Change it all back." But that creep, he's transparent, which botched my attack. The creep smiled and told me, "My work here is done, but I'll leave you with one last word before I'm gone. Next year, when I come to make over the scene, I'm going to start sooner, before Halloween."
Third place is Snake Stories by Austin Lange. Second place, 4 Years by Katie Ellen Bowers.
Just a brief content warning. It's not explicit, but if you are under the age of 18, you might want to hear one. It's not that bad. Just, fair warning. Okay, this is called 4 Years. 4 years, I have scrubbed myself raw. Spread ointments and lotions against the roundness of my cheeks and along the length of my legs to reduce the blemish of redness or roughness. I have thrown up in toilets, wiped spit and bile from my lips in the bathroom of a Piggly Wiggly, a pizza place, or the quiet stalls of a high school. I have slapped and pulled and pinched myself, my thighs for their size and cellulite, my breasts for not being creamy enough or pert enough, my labia for not being a neatly cute button of sex. I have hidden underneath covers. I have refused to be seen, had sex only in the darkness of a bed, and I've cried when my husband has seen me naked when I wasn't expecting him to. For years. Covers upon covers upon cover her up.
In first place, A Part of the Clouds by Brittany Blaskowitz Pritchard.
So this is called A Part of the Clouds. As a child, I was quite practical, trained as a grocery store checkout clerk, taking all the canned goods out of the cabinets, emptying the fridge of its stale leftovers, only to slide them across the kitchen table, punch their value into my father's calculator with the rolling paper, give myself a total, bag them up, turn around and unload them all again, hoping this time there would be something better to eat besides cans of Spam and green beans, dented chicken and stars. In the evenings, I moonlighted as a librarian, begging my brothers to check out copies of Berenstain Bears or Beverly Cleary, knowing all along they would forget to return them in time. They owe me a dime for every day they were late. This is how I saved up enough for the basket of lighters I gave everyone for Christmas. So proud of my ability to save, my thoughtful gift of fire. I did not realize I was killing everyone. The long, slow drags they took in circles on the patio.
I wanted to be part of the clouds, to unfurl my hair from its tight-kept bun and dance.
Short story, honorable mention, Reba by Daryl Lewis.
Before I do that, if you don't mind, you hear me better like this or like this?
With the microphone.
Sorry?
With the microphone.
Thank you very much. I don't know who you are, but I really appreciate it. Before I go, my mother is here, Linda Lewis, who actually is my ex-wife. They are the most important two in my life that have ever got me to write anything. I want to be sure to point them out. Reba's a story about a little southern town, and we'll see how it goes. Tom Andrews sat up and swung his leg over the side of the bed. He reached and pulled the window curtains back. From this window, from this window, he could see the lower backyard as the men continued to prepare to butcher the hog. The young man poked at the roaring fire to keep the huge cast iron pot of water scalding hot. 3 men stood off to one side, guarding the hog so it wouldn't escape again, and arranging the knives and scrapers. Andrews watched and also thought of the question that he had pondered, asking when he had arrived a little more than an hour ago. But this time he did ask the question. Reba, do you have any real feelings for me? I'm going to cut it off there. Okay?
Our next honorable mention is a gentlemanly thing to do by Virginia S. Moe.
I'm a choir director. This is about the beginning of a choir practice. The director dropped her stuff all over the place, and everybody's kind of getting a little wild. In the back row of tenors, a young father passed around a book on child rearing. His high voice carried well. I'm a good dad, but my brother doesn't have kids yet. He sent this. My wife is afraid it will influence me. The guy flipped the pages, chuckling at the drawings. How to calm baby. Dad and baby having a shot of whiskey. How to bathe baby. Baby crawling on the grouse while Dad's grazing with a hose. How to play with baby. Dad watching sports on television while dangling his fishing rod holding a toy over baby. Tonight was Bert's first night at the tenor section. He had been recruited by his next-door neighbor, Harold. Several singers welcomed him, and he now perched on the edge of his chair, pouring through the music in his folder and hoping he already knew some of the pieces. When Genevieve fluttered past, throwing papers in her wake, none of the other tenors seemed to pay attention, so Bert averted his eyes also. He took out his pencil and pretended to mark the scores. Harold claimed his music from the cubby and plopped down next to Bert. Hey Bert, thanks for joining us. Are you coming to score study meeting next week? Harold asked. Score study? I thought we'd learn the music here. Bert was amazed. He'd never heard of choirs having a score study. From the back row, Charlie joined the conversation. Yeah, we do, he drawled. He smiled at Harold and leaned forward. But we like score study. We learn the music even better there. And we sing better, too, Harold added. Charlie snickered. Don't bring your music. Just come to Abe's house 6 o'clock next Tuesday. Bert raised his eyebrows and wondered, score study with no music? He'd take his music just in case. Surely you don't memorize all your music, he questioned. No, but don't dress up. We have to clean Abe's basement. Still clueless, Bert raised his hands, palms up. What gives you guys clean basements for score study? We clean it before we make the beer. Bert's jaw fell open in surprise. Make beer? Is that what you guys were doing last month at your house when you said it was a church meeting? Sure was, replied Harold. That's why I invited you. Last month we thought we'd find a new recipe, Hobo's Choice. You should have come, Bert. We drank my beer. Charlie's chili pepper beer. A fantastic beer. Matter of opinion, growled the tenor from the back row. Charlie continued his explanation. When it's your turn to host, you come up with a secret recipe and provide the ingredients. And name it. It has to start with the first letter of your name, someone called. Any of your names. Xavier had a tough time with X, so he used G. Yeah, Garcia's Growlers called it a superlative beer. The men were silent. They all clasped their hands prayerfully over their bellies and looked toward the ceiling in thanksgiving.
Third place, Azalea Lane by Peter Buttress.
The residents on Azalea Lane were among the wealthiest in the small town of Woodbridge. Their houses, expensive and beautiful, had long driveways leading from the narrow road and were built on roughly 4 acres of well-manicured lawns. No two houses were alike. John Richardson and his wife Barbara had moved to 6 Azalea Lane before he retired as chief executive officer of a pharmaceutical company. Now that he had more free time, he and Barbara often took long walks in the morning. As members of the Woodbridge Country Club, they played golf and bridge as often as possible. And entertained friends at least once a week. They considered their retirement years idyllic. Their close friends, Jim and Laura Bechtel, lived across the street at 5 Azalea Lane. When Jim unexpectedly passed away, Laura put the house up for sale and moved to Memphis to be near her daughter. Although the house was in immaculate condition, it stood empty for several months because of its high price. Then John heard a rumor that the house had been sold. It wasn't until he saw a moving van parked outside and men moving furniture that he was certain. Looks like we've got new neighbors, he said to Barbara as they began their morning walk. So it does, she replied. I'll bake some cookies and take it over tomorrow. You want to come with me? Sure, John said. The next day, the two of them walked to the house across the street. Barbara held a plate of homemade chocolate chip cookies covered with tinfoil. When they reached the front door, John rang the bell. A man opened the door a crack. Yes, he said. Hi, I'm Jim Richardson, and this is my wife Barbara. We live across the street and just came to welcome you to the neighborhood. The man opened the door a little bit further, and John could see that he was towering 6 feet 3 inches tall and at least 270 pounds. His head was shaved that reflected light from above. John's immediate reaction was the man was either a former football player or ex-military. Sam Graves, the man said. What about your wife? I'd love to meet her, Barbara said sweetly. She's busy at the moment, Sam said curtly. Oh, what a shame, Barbara replied. Please give her these cookies and tell her I'll invite her over for coffee soon. Then we can get to know each other. Where are you from? John asked pleasantly, still standing on the front porch. Up north, Sam said, leaving John to guess whereabouts up north. There was a long pause before John said, have you decided on a church yet? We go to First Baptist, and we would love to have you join us. The preacher is terrific, a real spellbinder. We're Unitarian, said Sam. There was another pause. Deciding they weren't getting on very far, John and Barbara said goodbye and headed back to their house. That went well, Barbara said, a touch of sarcasm in her voice. I guess he's just not the friendly type, John replied. A few weeks later, John and Barbara noticed workmen across the street. One crew was installing a 6-foot-high chain-link fence around the property. The other crew was constructing a wooden lean-to 10 feet high and 8 feet deep, with an overhanging roof. Why is he building a fence? Barbara asked as she looked toward Sam's house. No idea. Maybe he's going to keep a horse on him. On second thought, he couldn't keep a horse in that lean-to. But a chain-link fence is so ugly, Barbara said. Why couldn't he put up a wooden fence? Serves the same purpose and is much more attractive. I'll go ask him, shall I? John asked, facetiously. Barbara giggled. Don't bother, I doubt if he'll give you a straight answer. By the way, did you ever invite Sam's wife over for coffee? Several times. She always had an excuse. I can't right now, too busy, or just leaving for shopping. I've given up calling her. It took several days for the fence to be completed. The work was finished by installing a metal gate at the entrance to the driveway. Puzzled, John, Barbara, and the other residents on Azalea Lane waited to see whether a horse would appear on Sam's property. They didn't have long to wait. Oh my God, Barbara shouted as she looked out the window one morning. It's not a horse at all. It's 2 ostriches. Ostriches? You've got to be kidding, John said as he hurried to the window. This is a residential neighborhood, not a friggin' zoo. Now, you have imposed a 500 work limit, okay? Would any of you like to hear the end of the story? Sorry, I'm going to have to keep going. No, seriously.
One page.
One page. Is it all right if I keep going?
Yeah.
The large, flightless birds were about 8 feet tall. They had long, muscular legs and huge bodies. Their towering necks supported small heads with large, dark eyes. One of them had bold black and white coloring. The other was light brown. I bet one of them is a male and the other's a female, John said. My guess Sam is going to breed them and either sell the eggs or sell the chicks. There's a lot of money in the ostrich business. Really? How do you know that? Well, I just read a National Geographic and it said a female ostrich will lay 7 to 10 eggs at a time. Their meat is a delicacy in some restaurants because it's very low in fat. Then you have the feathers that can be used for costumes in theater productions or as decorations. I predict this is going to be a problem for all of us on Azalea Lane. He was right. Word got around town about the birds, and soon they became an attraction. Cars pulled over and people got out to gawk at them. A minibus parked outside Sam's house one day, and a dozen preschoolers spilled out. pointing and chattering. When a reporter from the local newspaper wrote a story about the ostriches, it was picked up by the Associated Press, and the publicity became widespread. Annoyed at what was going on in his neighborhood, John said to Barbara, "I've got to do something about this. I know Bob Cummings, the chairman of the zoning commission. I'll speak to him after church on Sunday." When the two men met after the service, John said, "I'm sure you've heard about the ostriches on our lane. They're a big nuisance, and I'd like to file a complaint with the commission. I think it violates our zoning code." "That's fine," Bob said. "Just write me a letter outlining the reason for your complaint, and I'll put it on the agenda for next meeting. You'll have to testify, you know." "Not a problem. Thanks very much." The zoning commission normally met in a small room at town hall, but the interest in the ostriches had grown so much that Bob Cummings decided to hold the meeting in the cafeteria at the school, a venue large enough to accommodate a crowd. Bob called the meeting to order at exactly 7 p.m. the following Thursday, even as some late stragglers were trying to find seats. The commission was made up of 3 men and 2 women, all volunteers. Bob discussed some administrative details, then turned his attention to the first agenda on the item. We received a complaint from John Richardson, owner of 6 Azalea Lane, in which he claims his neighbor, Sam Graves, of 5 Azalea Lane, is in violation of the town zoning law. Mr. Richardson, would you please tell us what's going on? John stood. As the former head of a large company, he was comfortable speaking before large groups. "Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. A few weeks ago, Mr. Graves acquired 2 ostriches and installed them on his property, which has caused a serious nuisance for me and my neighbors. Cars parked on the side of the lane, which makes it difficult for us to enter or leave the narrow lane. Then there's the trash. People drop empty soda bottles and candy wrappers and leave it for us to pick up. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, the feet of ostriches are deadly weapons? I read in National Geographic that if attacked, an ostrich is strong enough to kill a lion. I am concerned that if someone climbs over the chain link fence and harasses the birds, that person is likely to be severely injured or killed. Finally, the zoning laws allow for residents to have 1 horse for every 4 acres of ground. Admittedly, they do not say you can't have 2 ostriches on your property. Surely that is a given. Otherwise, it would be legal for me to have 2 giraffes outside my house. Or how about 2 elephants? The audience burst into laughter and applause. Azalea Lane is zoned residential, but because of the ostriches, it has become zoo-like. John thanked the commission and sat down. "Mr. Graves," the chairman said, "your turn." "I don't know what all the fuss is about," Sam said. "There's just 2 birds. They don't make any noise except for an occasional hiss, and their droppings don't smell. All they do all day is eat grass and insects and mind their own business. I can't help it if someone comes by every once in a while to look at it. The curiosity will soon wear off, and people will stop coming." There was a smattering of applause. He went to sit down, but Bob stopped him. "Mr. Graves, do you consider these birds your pets?" "Of course not. Ostriches are not pets." "Then why do you have them?" "I hope to make some money off them. I'm going to breed them and sell their eggs or their chicks. So it's a commercial enterprise you're running. Sam paused. Well, yeah, I guess. Thank you, Mr. Graves. You may be seated. Bob announced as recess. The panel retired to one of the classrooms to consider their decision. While they were gone, people in the audience chatted among themselves. The panel returned in 15 minutes, and the audience grew quiet. Bob looked directly at Sam and said, after due deliberation, the Zoning Commission hereby declares that you, Mr. Graves, are in violation of the town's zoning laws because you are running a commercial enterprise in a residential zone. You are hereby ordered to remove the ostriches from your property on 5 Azalea Lane within 30 days. There was applause mingled with a few boos. Sam glared at the panel and hurried to leave without speaking to anyone. A few weeks later, John and Barbara were pleased to see the ostriches were gone and a for sale sign on display outside Sam's house. One day they heard the loud noise of a motorcycle come along the lane and stop across the street. When they looked out the window, they saw a bearded man with long hair wearing a leather jacket with Hell's Angels painted on the black. He got off his Harley Davidson and pulled the for sale sign out of the ground and threw it towards the chain link fence. Slowly he mounted the machine, revved the engine, and sped off. When the Richardson left the house to begin their morning walk, they found a note from Sam taped to their front door. It said, "You're gonna love your new neighbors." Thank you.
Our second place award goes to Mollis Tierras by Hamilton Davis.
Promised my daughter that I would do a good job with her today, so I would embarrass her. So. Thank you to the Arts Council. I was able to participate in 2017 and enjoyed it, so thank you. Thank you to you guys for what you do. Very nice. Mollis Tierras, it's a story about a young woman who had a bad relationship, ended the relationship, and I guess what do you do when you end a bad relationship? You go hiking in the workplace that you could imagine, which is Mollis Tierras, which basically translates to Badlands. That's where she went, Badlands. And halfway up the hike, she finds that her ex is there to join her without being invited. She got a look on her face back there. I guess that's not a good thing to find when you're hiking. She finds her ex up there, and at first she hates him for the same reasons that she left him. But then he gets bitten by a snake. Life tends to happen. You get bitten by a snake when you're hiking. So she winds up trying to save him. She puts him on a raft, puts him in the river, gets him down the river. He becomes her project to save him. And doesn't turn out so well. So this is some of the excerpt I'm going to read. He's in the raft. She just made it to the ranger station. And that's her raft. She felt old and shameful tears well in her eyes as the naked truth of Terry's condition flowed up and down inside that boat, working in time with the movement of the water. Terry wasn't getting up because Terry was dead. She bent her head down low and pinched her eyes shut. The ranger, his name was Teddy, placed an old weathered hand on her shoulder and held her there. And the similarity to Terry placing his own hand on her shoulder only minutes before made great sobs come out in great hot rivers. There, the old man said. Ain't your fault, miss. Yes, it is, Sarah said. I couldn't save him. She felt the ranger place a second hand on her shoulder. Only this hand didn't feel right. It didn't feel quite human. She peered over her shoulder and recoiled. The ranger nodded as if in agreement to a question that she hadn't really asked. Yeah, lost that in Vietnam, he said, slaying his clawed hand. Lost his leg here too, and he claimed the still claw against his leg, producing a hollow bonking sound. Looks like you had yourself a bad night, girl. Sorry about your man. Sarah nodded. Hard truths, the old man muttered hard. The ranger stood up stiffly. He extended his good hand to her, and she took it reluctantly. I'll call the medics, he said, and he guided her through the raft. The boat shifted back and forth in the river as water gurgled underneath the rubber bottom. I couldn't save him, she said again. I tried, but I failed. And at this, a new round of sobs escaped her. Sometimes, Teddy said, we gotta stop blaming ourselves. He looked down at the wooden leg that he had and winced. All got to live and die with our loss. Live and die. Sarah Jackson sat on the wooden steps of the ranger station and listened to the far-off whine of emergency vehicles as they wound their way through the twisting roads leading up Wallace Tierras. She sipped hot cocoa, courtesy of the oldest ranger she'd ever met, and thought about Terry's dreams of becoming a star in the night sky. And above her in the celestial canvas that cares not for human gain or loss, a shooting star scratched its way across the heavens, leaving behind a ghost of silver stardust. It ran its course and then vanished at the edge of nothing. And she smiled despite the fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. And she sipped her hot cocoa. It was warm and sweet, a stranger in the night, and her eyes held the pale moon for one last time. Goodbye, she said. Good night, Terry. Thank you.
And our first place in short story goes to A Grandson's Promise by Trevor Hammond.
This is one of those stories that you carry around inside of you, and it just feels like it needs to come out. And so when it came out in writing, it was really just to put it out into the world and share it with my family. And ironically, I let a former student read it, teacher, and she's the one that encouraged me to enter this. So I feel like it's a story that maybe you can relate to. It's a creative nonfiction short story based on when my father passed away 3 years ago. It is not a story about his death, though. It's not meant to be a story to make you cry. It's a story about legacy and human connection and the bonds that we have with each other. I'll give you a little background lead up to the excerpt, and I'll share it with you. My dad used to embarrass us, my brother me, to death because he did this thing where if he met anybody in a restaurant, in an elevator, anywhere, doctor's office, he would ask their names. And then the next question, we would look at each other and go, here we go. Who are your people? Where are you from? And he would start to try to link somehow our genealogy and figure it out, and we would be so embarrassed about it. And the other thing I want to tell you before I share this excerpt is that my dad has 5 grandsons, but my middle son, Alex, and my dad had this incredible kindred spirit soul connection. And so it's called A Grandson's Promise because it's about my son, Alex. So it's one of those hot summer days in June where you're sitting under those funeral home tents and those velvet chairs, and you're listening to cars go by, and it's sweltering. You can feel the sweat rolling down you, and you think I should be paying more attention, but I'll go and it's burning hot. So finally it's over, and they usher the family up to this air-conditioned little place up on the hill, and they have cookies and lemonade, and then the workers, prepare the burial, and then you come back out and everything's beautiful like it never happened. So this is the the part I'm going to start where they have ushered the family up to the little air-conditioned room away from it all. And my son Alex chose to stay at the tent in the heat. He didn't come with us. And so I'll start there. After the benediction, the funeral home director ushered us up the hill to a cool waiting area where we stepped inside an air-conditioned room. And a kind lady offered us water and cookies. It was a nice gesture, but it felt strange, all of us sitting around like at a social gathering, sipping water and making small talk in hushed tones, when all I could think about was, they're burying my father's ashes while I sit here. Shouldn't we be there to see this last chapter in his life? My heart was not in that room. Instead, it was down the hill in the heat of summer, where my son Alex had remained to stay with his grandfather's ashes until the final moment. I suddenly felt like I couldn't breathe, and before I knew it, my feet were leading me down the hill to the green tent, praying that it wasn't too late to be there as they buried my father's ashes. In stark contrast to the solemn family waiting area, I came upon a flurry of work preparing the burial. Amidst the busyness of the digging, of shovels hitting hard earth, the crew leader giving directions, sat my teenage son, Alex, vigilantly overseeing the wooden box on the table. As I gently put my arm around his shoulder and sat down beside him, he looked into my eyes and said, "I promised Papa I would be with him to the end." I knew this was breaking his heart, but he was calm, seemingly at peace, sitting there with his papa's ashes. We sat there without talking, listening to the steady digging of shovels into the ground in front of us, watching as clumps of red clay crumbled and spilled over the edges of the freshly dug grave as workers piled the dirt beside the deep opening. The guys, eventually sensing the somberness of our presence, had respectfully ceased their laughing and talking and only spoke about their task. It became oddly comforting to listen and watch the methodical moving of dirt and clay, something tangible and real in that moment of loss which seemed surreal. Finally, Alex broke the spell and stood saying, "Hey, I'm Alex, by the way. This is my grandfather you're burying today. What are your names?" At first, they were a bit taken back, as if perhaps they weren't accustomed to having a family member not only watch them dig a grave, but to also reach out and make it personal. Most likely, families stayed sheltered in the office waiting area to avoid seeing this part of the process, only to return when the grass was once again placed on top of the freshly dug ground, as if nothing had ever happened. I wondered, these workers ever paused to think about all the love, the memories, the grief that surrounded simple wooden boxes being lowered into the ground? The digging stopped momentarily, and as it began again, each guy on the work crew paused to tell his name and stepped toward Alex to shake his hand. "I'm Joe. I'm Dylan. They call me Toon," one guy said with a smile. "Mike," and on around the group. At the end, "I'm Trevor," I said. "I'm Alex's mom." And it hit me, and I added, "You know what? That is so ironic that we're burying my dad, and Alex just asked you your names, because my dad would have done exactly the same thing. Except," I added with a chuckle, "he would have also said, 'Now where are y'all from?'" Alex laughed and said, "Oh yeah, Papa would have definitely asked that." The digging stopped again. And out of the silence, one by one, each guy without invitation, without any conversation about it, smiled and spoke. Greenwood, Abbeville, Hodges, and on around the circle until all of them shared, in silence again. And in that moment, we were connected. Not as workers and grieving family members, but as human beings joined in the sacred moment of honoring the life of each other. It was a moment when Dad finally felt near, much more so than when I was shielded away from it all, away from the grit and sweat of burying him. This time of communion between strangers felt like a blessing from Dad, as if he were saying, "So now that we know each other, let's get on with it." The crew leader looked at Alex and held up a shovel. "Would you like to help?" Man to man, worker to grandson, My son rolled up his dress shirt sleeves and they began to dig. Soon the pine box was placed into the grave, and I watched my son scoop up red clay from the pile and begin to cover the box one shovelful at a time. No one spoke. There was no need for words, just the sound of dirt crumbling down the box, filling the space. A new rhythm began in the final steps. Pieces of sod laid, water poured. Pieces of sod laid, water poured, until the plot was sealed and edges of grass began to blend with the rest. Another life committed to this hallowed ground where we buried all of my grandparents and great-grandparents years before. And I'll stop there.
Before we wrap things up, we did have a few folks come in after we got started, so I wanted to make sure that we recognized them if they were here and give them their moment to do their reading if they'd like. Is Zoe here? So Zoe, you received the honorable mention in poetry for your piece, Violin Girl. You're welcome to come on up.
Sorry, for the first time in my life, we had a flat tire. This is a piece called Violin Girl. I wrote it in a creative writing class I took online. The tavern is filled with a haunting tune of a girl playing the violin. One of the patrons kept time with a spoon. The other customers were too full of gin and filled with the sorrow and weight of forgetting their sins. The poor patrons took the bait and they drank their money away and drank until they couldn't think straight. All the while, the girl eyed them like prey. She had no pity for them. They barely made enough coin to get through the day. So she enchanted them with her violin throne until every other thought was done.
Is Lily here? How about Helena? All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. This is the 6th year that we'll be publishing the Cotton Alley Writers Review. It will be available on our website and at issue.com tomorrow by noon. We hope that you enjoyed this evening as much as we have, and we appreciate everybody submitting their works to us for consideration and hope that you'll join us again next year. Next Thursday, we have a reception for this exhibit, the Studio Artists Showcase. We would love to see you there. And then the following Friday, we are hosting 2 things. We're hosting the Coro Art Reception, and we're also hosting the competitive portrait drawing event, where 16 artists, 2 by 2, will go head-to-head and have 5 minutes apiece to draw a portrait of their model, and then their model will jury their favorite, and the favorites will move on to second round and continue on until we have just 2 remaining. So that's an exciting event happening on the 22nd. Thank you again, and we hope that you'll have some food and get to know each other, and we'll see you again next year.